The date Thursday, January 24th is 11:25 p.m. at night, 2019. Okay. All right. Turn this shit up. Turn them bitches up. All this stuff will be edited later. I do not prepare for these things. I just leave myself notes. And just to let you know that I'm real, I'm just going to speak it raw. How filtered tap water shouldn't have to be purified again after it has been, just you know, after it's just been filtered by the state, nation, or whatever. That to me makes absolutely no sense. Seeing that river water, spring water, plant water, vegetable water, fruit juice water, mountain water, I don't know if I said that already comes purified. There should be no reason why we should have to live in a society that filters ocean water, spring water, and it comes out so impure that we have to filter it again just to drink or purify it ourselves. We have to buy materials or get equipment installed into our apartment complexes, our homes, or whatever it may have you, and just so we can drink it. It makes no other sense. It makes no sense that people in Africa need clean water and they could just dig wells. Um, I'm just trying to shoot that out the way because back not too far when they had us believing that we had to keep donating to get Africa clean water. You know, they may have needed clean water from perhaps there was some wars going on and it had some blockades or something like that. But if you're eating fruits and vegetables, you're getting a lot of that water, that moisture from the food that you eat. So you being from Africa and having muddy water and um, high soil that's pH is pretty high. The precipitation in the soil, just the soil is so great over there, and the crops you would get from it would be so moist. It also depends on which region you're from, but all in all, if you're in an area in which has water, all you have to do is boil it. You're eating your fruits and vegetables, you're getting all the water that you actually need. Not to even mention how well your body is actually retaining this water from these fruits and vegetables that you're only eating. Now, if you eat like an animal or some type of grain or mushrooms or something you're not supposed to be eating, then this water is gonna run to moisturize. To your body's gonna work harder to moisturize that material that you had an intake with, that you digested, just so it could get whatever minerals, vitamins and minerals out of it that it could possibly can while it's hurrying up to push it out. But it just didn't, that African thing didn't make sense too much to me. You know what I'm saying? Not to native people that were originally from there all their lives, and all of a sudden they need help purifying the water. But that's getting off the subject. Um, all of a sudden they need it. That makes sense. So I'm not gonna get too much into this next subject, which is how nature I guess I'll dabble a little bit in it. How nature is completely better than the society that we live in. I was taught by alien beings as well as my own research. This information, being just case in point with the watering filtration system. If we were outside in the United States of America and the Americas, we wouldn't have a single problem drinking this water. We wouldn't have a single problem with a quote unquote filtration system because nature has its own filtration system, and it would come to still waters in order for us to drink. You know, everybody would be eating everything that they would absolutely have to be eating in terms of plants, organisms, animals, and people. That even if you ran across urine or fecal matter in the water, it would actually be nutritious for you to drink. Parasites and bacteria has never been as recorded as they have been recorded during modern times today because of the things that we've eaten. I don't want to say it that way. I'm going to say they haven't received, they weren't perceived as a mechanism of some type of negative. They put this negative connotation behind parasites and bacteria, germs and viruses because of the damages they cause our bodies or other organisms or how they attack our immune systems or get us sick, you know. So they get a bad rap for naturally being themselves. The reason why we catch these diseases, viruses, and parasites is because they're just doing what they do. Parasites only launch themselves at emblems, embryos, embryotics, deformed or unconstructed or not fully constructed, or how do you say this? Um, Not disembodied, but dysfunctional or incomplete substances. Not saying incomplete as in not whole, but incomplete as in it's still in a harmonious state. It just needs to continue to go along its way in order to be fully completed. Or switching over to what else it could attach itself to is something that has broken away from its harmonious state. Now, parasites has a job to do. Parasites have a job to do, and that is to latch itself on to its. It has a job to latch itself onto organisms or beings as such and sap whatever either dysfunctional or dead part of it or incomplete part of it in order to satisfy itself. In order to satisfy itself. Now, not all parasites are the same. They are they are just like every other organism, and generic out there. Everything is different, and thus would have a different job in nature. But primarily, that's what a parasite's job is. Is really just a fill in, just to clean up. But its job is to sweep up what's like what's been left behind. It's almost like a bottom feeder, or it's nature's own filtration system to like organisms and actually live things. They even have parasites for plants too. So all things really. So if you've eaten something, so before I jump into that, um, it's the same thing with bacteria and viruses and germs. They all have a job to do, and they all just go to whatever attracts them due to them just acting naturally. So if there is some if there's some disharmony somewhere or some dysfunctionality in a hugely genetic way, parasites, bacteria, all microorganisms that all microorganisms that that were at that dimensional level, that were at that micro uh bioorganism bioorganismic level, in which helped or was there or is in harmony still while we were being built, or organisms were being built and being structured by cells, atoms, and molecules, will still recognize electronically and variously, or orgasmic not orgasm organism, yeah, organism, orgasm, yeah, orgasmically, which is just a vibration of the frequency in which sex is at a climax in harmony, through an attraction, will sense that something is in disharmony and will retract back to those building stages in order to rebuild or destroy or do exactly what it was meant to do when it was first building that molecule, atom, or organism in the first place. So they're just doing their job as microbioorganisms, bioorganisms. You eat a certain food, you eat a certain fish, you eat certain genetically altered foods, your body's gonna be in disharmony. This is what be happening. This happens all the time. We get injected with stuff. You know, there's no reason why we've lived for years, for ages, and there hasn't been a single case of flu. There hasn't been a single case of recorded flu. You know, there hasn't been there hasn't been a single case of a huge plague or anything like that. You know, just the attractive physicality of it all. While you're sitting here breathing fresh air without having a single problem at all, and all of a sudden, bacteria comes out of nowhere, and there's a huge plague, or there's a sickness that falls over, you know, your people, or people running around with the stomach virus or flu, primarily comes from a pathogen, you know, a carrier of a bacteria or a virus or a germ that can be implemented and put out there. But these pathogens need a string, a stem, or some type of form of DNA to hang on to in order for them to be a pathogen. They need a path to be a pathogen. That means it's something that we always eating, all are eating, something that we still are eating or have been injected with in order for these pathogens to have a clear way through our DNA strands and affect us. And it wouldn't became able to until we got here in this society and embarked on all this. Because there's bacteria and viruses, germs that are hugely aggressive. Not even sugarcoating it. They can be quite tyrannical past the age of the dinosaurs. Just simply putting it, I know it sounds cliche just using, tyrannic or dinosaurs or aggressive, but that's speaking real. That means because all these germs and viruses ain't dying. All these pathogens don't have to die. We all came from them, so we are an existing example of bioptic structuring. They oversee everybody. They outnumber us by folds, by dimensional energetic folds. There's plenty in the air that you cannot hide from. But if you give it a path, so it can be a pathogen, you got a virus that you can control through whatever distribution that you put out there that collaborates with that pathogen. Pretty easy. You just get people to do it, take it, feed it to them. And they can just go along that line. So, that's not exactly what I was heading to in terms of talking. Why did I start that conversation? Let me see. Oh, okay. The society compared to nature. So being out in nature, we're completely exposed to all these germs and viruses and whatnot. We would not be sick at all. And if you were, you would be so in tune with nature. I know that sounds cliche too, but it's very true. You being so in tune with nature, a lot of foods and water that you eating and drinking, and the animals that are desecrating and um, being around about and putting back into the earth as well as you are the same way. All this, all of this, all these transitions that we went through as microorganisms up until this point now will re-enter the nature around us, and we will eat nature, thus having the answer to whatever problem that we may be dealing with. That's why there's no recorded huge plagues in the past, ever, ever, absolutely never. It's probably a few. I ain't gonna be like that. It was probably a few when they were a whole lot more aggressive and everything was just natural, and we could actually sense bacteria and viruses, and they were more grouped and visible, or you could at least hear them or feel them, or even some that you couldn't feel or nothing like that. But it would just had to have been some type of necessity going on in order for certain groups to be killed or uh, uh, you know jumped upon. I'm pretty sure there was a storyline in which plagues and bacteria and viruses did exist. I mean, to the point in which, you know, they actually killed land masses of animals, plants, fruits, or people, but that would just be a specific type of bacteria, pathogen, or insect, or anything, if you will. And it would just be natural, and they would stand their ground, but everything would still be in harmony and such. It wouldn't necessarily be because of the things you eat. Even if it did, if it was, that would be the reason why it entered your body or your genes. But that's actually why I started that conversation, is because these pathogens, these bacterias, all these things wouldn't enter your body if we weren't eating things that attracted them. This is how all things work. If you see how dogs sniff your butt, not even trying to be funny, but dogs sniff your butt and they can tell what kind of food you've ate, what kind of food you eating. Um, what it is, you could tell if uh um what is you're not supposed to smell um the food that you eat. Is supposed to be so pure that you're not supposed to smell at all. Animals can smell you, and especially people of the opposite sex, and as well as the same sex, can definitely smell you, and they can actually make a very decisive and diligent decision based off of how you smell. You eat meat, you smell like defecation. You eat sugar, you smell like the deceased. You smell like you have a nectarizing smell, but you also smell, like defecation as well. Not as much as meat though. Um, so I don't want to take it that far. But if you eat fruits and vegetables and you try your best to eat that stuff, well, what you need to eat is fruits and vegetables, nuts and berries and stuff like that. You'll realize, and just drink water, you realize after a while that you do not stink anymore. People see hippies, native peoples, and all types of deals like that. You know, you never see them like wiping their noses, holding their noses when somebody poops or farts, or you never realize that they leave their freaking matter everywhere, and they don't take a single whiff of what of what they've eaten, unless they've been eating meat or has some sugary byproducts or something. And you realize once you get on these types of diets, or you understand the truth more, that what you actually do smell is the chemicals. Like, you actually smell, what is it? You smell, it's not, it's what's that? What's that bug product? You smell pesticide. You smell pesticide um and injected chemicals that you can smell. They injected into these fruits and vegetables to make them bigger. You smell that fumigating from you, because your body breathes out and in, not only through your mouth, but through the pores of your body that's everywhere on your body, through your hairs, and you have smaller pores around your body, which is also open up once you start to eat correctly. another reason why you're not so prone, you're not supposed to be as prone to getting sick as you are in nature. No, you're not supposed to be. You're not supposed to be. You're not supposed to get sick. Then the other reason why you're not supposed to be sick at all is, or as much, or that's even meaning that you're just injured. You're not really ill or sick. Um, is because we've evolutionized ourselves past these points. We've eaten, we've had sex, we've continued to capitalize and bring our bodily structures to the basis and into a foundation in which our bodily forms are now at a stage in which we are no longer at wits with we never literally been at wits with nature. That's another lie, because that's another lie just as much as the theory of the Big Bang. There's no reason that the universe is at harmony with everything and there had to be a bang. That makes absolutely no sense, because if you have harmony, all you would need was music. All you would need is the harmonious sound of life coming through and forming into the universe through a harmonious way. There would not be a necessity for a bang at all. That makes absolutely no sense that it would need a bang. If everything is harmonized and structured properly through time and patience and expansion, all it would take was the harmony of frequency, which would be music. A simple emotion. It'd be no way we would need a bang. But we have had sex for so long, and as you continue to have sex, your DNA becomes parasitic in itself, continuously finding information, continuously finding and attracting people and beings in order for it to have its just due, so we can capitalize on whatever it's missing and continue to bring it in and continue to weed it out and keeps massaging it, keeps massaging it. You're actually supposed to be eating fruits and vegetables completely whole with the skin and everything, the stem and all. You poop, the seeds grow, you pee, it gives us more, it ferments it, and it grows even more and sprouts even taller. That means all this trash, all these buildings and everything, you can wipe your hands with it, because you wouldn't even need to, like, that whole idea, like banana peels being on the ground in the jungle. Like you never went to, like, you never went anywhere in the jungle, seen on TV or anything like that, and actually seen either defamation, a deceased being, any fecal matter, or any fruits and vegetables laying around there, unless an animal just didn't finish it. But later on, you won't see the same thing, because every single animal, insect, or being out there uses absolutely everything. These fruits and vegetables aren't supposed to be that small. This small here in these grocery stores or stuff like that, in these farmer markets. You're actually supposed to be eating things that are humongous and completely whole. These seeds continue to vibrate and give these plants and vegetables and fruits the skin to be eaten. It's I don't even want to keep saying vitamin D or anything like that or calcium, but you're supposed to be eating these fruits and vegetables whole. So you would need no trash. You would need no you wouldn't even need water as much because you would be taking in so much moisture and the purity of everything that takes in oxygen and electricity that your body would be able to hold all of this moisture, as well as you sleeping in the dirt or being around moisture or water or whatever terrain that you may be in. You'll be able to capitalize on the terrain itself so that your body would over time, or even if you were from that terrain or area, if you are geographically from that area, then you wouldn't necessarily even need to adapt because that would mean that you were made for that area, so you would have everything you absolutely need, you know. So you can eat certain grains and eat certain seeds and actually be completely okay. And if you're meant to actually run off and, get a certain group or pot of water, then that's what you're supposed to do. But all in all, if you're from that geographic background, you don't need to do anything but be there. You can eat sand if that's what you're supposed to do. But your body is actually more capable of sustaining its its geographic background longer than we've been taught. You know what I'm saying? You stay over here, you could probably stay over there. You stay in this region or valley or whatever it may be, as long probably for weeks without eating or drinking or anything. You know what I'm saying? But as you've grown from there, you've eaten everything from around there. You've electronically gotten the whole stitch of everything around there. Your DNA has collaborized and evolutionized itself from being around there so long for eons and eons that you guys already encountered bacteria. You've already fought all of that information off, whether you did or not. But that's where we are today, you know. And even back then, we didn't come to wits with everything like that because everything is harmonious and we take after each other for particular reasons. Bacterias hop on me all the time, but they get they just due for taking care of me bacterially and genetically and microorganismically as I grew and evolutionized into myself. So I already know these germs and viruses and beings, and they know me even well once I decease, and they eat me up. You know, it's really common. It's enlightening to actually see these type of deals and understand it when you really understand it, because it's a love for knowledge now, you know. But I gotta go, and I actually be back, and I gotta record the rest later. So all right then, check out.